I put a spell on you.
I put a spell on you.
It's your mind.
Witches. Hello, witches. Do the most crazy thing you've probably done all year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yay! Woo!
No, not really.
What we're going to do right now is ride very slowly, very carefully on the pavement, on the sidewalk, around this big oval. And we're going to ride carefully across the street into the parking lot. We're all going to get together in there. We're going down to Clinton, over to Oakland, around Mount Carmel, back down State, cutting over at Hamilton to Harvey and back here. The streets are open with traffic. You have to follow the rules of the road.
I put a spell on you.
I put a spell on you.
It's your mind.
Witches. Hello, witches. Do the most crazy thing you've probably done all year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yay! Woo!
No, not really.
What we're going to do right now is ride very slowly, very carefully on the pavement, on the sidewalk, around this big oval. And we're going to ride carefully across the street into the parking lot. We're all going to get together in there. We're going down to Clinton, over to Oakland, around Mount Carmel, back down State, cutting over at Hamilton to Harvey and back here. The streets are open with traffic. You have to follow the rules of the road.
A lot of people have come in since the last announcement. If you do intend to comment on any of tonight's agenda items, we do ask that you sign in on the sign-in sheet at the back as you enter the room. Give us your address, not your specific address, but your street or your municipality if you're not from Doylestown Borough. And you should note what agenda item you wish to speak about. Thank you. You'll be dying to comment on the building inspection monthly report, I'm sure. Yeah. Close. Probably get a few more people in.
I'd like to call to order the Doylestown Borough Council meeting for Monday, October 20th. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have a few special presentations tonight. Madam Mayor?
Are town criers starting?
I'm sorry?
Town criers first?
Yeah. Town criers first.
So,
Up, please. Thank you.
You need to cry out, Your Honor.
Well, at least we have no crybabies.
Wonderful.
Oh, right.
Don't worry. We won't fight.
Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay. Today is Monday, October 20th in the year 2025. This night will be the formal appointment of town criers by the esteemed Doylestown Borough Council. On their honor, all criers will be charged with faithfully spreading the day's news throughout the borough.
Let all good citizens of the borough of Doylestown gather and take heed. Hear this proclamation for the conduct of your public affairs.
I do hereby declare this to be the official opening of the Doylestown Borough Council session for the month of October. The elected members of your governing body, under the direction of the President Council, Jack O'Brien, are now assembled within this chamber.
All those present are hereby charged to conduct themselves with the utmost respect and civility throughout the proceedings. Silence shall be observed when the council is speaking, and the public shall follow the prescribed rules for addressing your representatives.
Know that the business before this council this evening includes all matters pertaining to the borough of Doylestown and its citizenry on the matters critical to the peace and prosperity of Doylestown.
Let the ancient traditions of civic disclosure guide our modern actions. Let all voices be heard with temperance, and let all decisions be made with wisdom.
Thank you very much. I think that may be the most impressive opening since I've been on council since 2014. And I hope everything works out well for you over the next year and a half. Next, we have a plaque presentation by the mayor.
So tonight, I have the pleasure of honoring one of our residents who has served Doylestown for a long time. And if you are wondering what is on the screens on either side of you, that is the fire on February 23rd, 1973, when the old school building burned and was destroyed. The individual fireman at the top of the ladder there is Gus Perea. And that is who we are honoring this evening. I think there are some other people here who, Jim, and people from the Planning Commission. Bill, did you want to come forward and stand with Gus? Is there anyone else from the Planning Commission?
Andy's from
Did you? What? And Amy, and especially her father, had a long relationship with Gus, and she's going to say something before giving him his plaque.
Who paid you for this?
My dad.
Oh.
So, Gus, your accomplishments in our town have been expansive. Gus and Kathy have lived in Doylestown for over 4 decades, right? They're my neighbors. The two of them have a beautiful community garden plot behind the library filled with gorgeous dahlias. So in 1993, Gus, you and my father worked on the Michener Art Museum.
Yep.
You were overseeing the construction with Adams Bickle Associates, and my dad was the architect. My father admired you so much. The Michener Museum won a Building Alexis Award with the Philadelphia Business Journal and many other awards. Gus has sat on the Bucks County Historical Society Board and the County Theater. We owe you so much in shaping Doylestown to what it is today. As I walk through the town each day, and I do, I will always marvel at your personal touches to the architecture, the development, and the beauty of our town. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And before I give the plaque, I was reminded that Gus was really instrumental in the guiding of this building and the county theater during their building during COVID, which was quite an incredible experience for all of us. So with that, Gus Perea, in appreciation for your dedicated service as a member of the Doylestown Borough Environmental Advisory Council from 2008 to 2011, Historical and Architectural Review Board from 2011 to 2015, and the Planning Commission from 2003 to 2025. The borough and the mayor honor you. Thank you so much for everything you've done. And
I'll kiss you too.
Jim, would you like to say something?
I would. Brother.
I first met you, Gus, 11 years ago, just after being appointed to the Planning Commission in November of 2014. In that brief and yet long time, you've become such a dear friend, Gus, as much as a colleague, and I shall terribly miss seeing and working with you so consistently. I'm so grateful you and Kathy are not moving too far away, as Doylestown would not be the same without you. I have to thank you for placing such trust in me to nominate me for the position of Vice Chair of the Planning Commission and then Chair 3 years later. I am still attempting to fill the immensely cavernous shoes you left on the dais as best I can. I've deeply appreciated your advice, your candor, your perspective, profound experience, and indeed your unwavering devotion to Doylestown Borough, a passion that we both joyfully share. I shall miss you more than I can say at future commission meetings, and I wish you well in your new adventures at Pine Run and beyond.
Would anyone else like to say anything before? Do you want to do a final photo op, or were you all of us together?
Amy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Fun fact that among Gus's many accomplishments is the very room in which we are sitting this evening.
That's grand.
Next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from our September 15th council meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kinney and a motion by Mr. Brown. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Mayor, do you have a report for us tonight?
Yes, I do have a report this evening. I want to thank the town criers for making our October council meeting official. Our Doylestown Historical Society officially launched their 215th anniversary celebration of the signing of the Declaration of Independence last Saturday on October 18th. Ben Franklin was absolutely fabulous. Our Historical Society has a lot in store for us for the 250th. The town criers will greet us everywhere. There will be colonial food and beer tastings. The Doylestown Library is presenting a series of lectures on early American topics like colonial garments, Washington, Quakers during the Revolution, Abigail Adams, and more. In the near future, on November 11th, is the Veterans Day commemoration in the Doylestown Historical Society Park. On November 15th, Washington visits Doylestown at the library in the Pearl Buck Room. On December 13th, there will be an historic tour of Doylestown places of worship. And most important, next Saturday, there's going to be a revolutionary pub crawl with Benjamin Franklin and Benedict Arnold when he was still a hero. Now, I don't know anything about timing of it. The only thing I know right now is that there's a sign in front of the Historical Society with the QR code if you are interested, but the details will be on their website. On October 9th, the Ann Silverman Community Health Clinic was named Penn Medicine's 2025 CARES Community Champions for their enduring partnership, impact, and shared commitment to community health. Just so you know, Councilman Kinney and I were given a tour of the clinic by Director Marie Gourmand. They are having issues with volunteers and due to changes in national budget priorities, client funding. It happened that week that the Doylestown Masons were celebrating their 175th anniversary that week, and we connected the two of them together, and our Masons are helping with volunteers and funding for some client care in 2026. And for the borough, Halloween is approaching. Trunk or Treat is this Wednesday, October 22, at Broad Common and in the parking lot. We have 300 registrants already and apparently 100 in waiting. Spectacular and the Witches Ride are on October 25th. Registrations are open. And on October 30th, in Borough Hall at 7 p.m., the Emergency Preparedness team has a public meeting on how to create community communications in your area. And that, Mr. President, is the end of my report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Public safety, Mr. Brown, what do you have for us tonight?
Thank you, Mr. President. We've got three things on the agenda tonight. The first one is consideration of ordinance number 2025-8, prohibiting left turns to and from Central Bucks West Court Street parking lot. Attached, please find the above referenced ordinance requested by the Central Bucks School District, which is necessary in order for them to implement their council-approved transportation plan for Central Bucks West. The ordinance prohibits left turns into and from the Central Bucks West High School parking lot located at 375 West Court Street between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. Council authorized the advertisement of this ordinance at their meeting on August 18, 2025. The ordinance has since been properly advertised. If council wishes to adopt ordinance number 2025-8, it can do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. O'Hanlon, I believe. Any questions or comments from any members of the council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none. I'd like to call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next one is the authorization to advertise an ordinance modifying parking restrictions on North Franklin Street between State and Wood Street. The southeast side of North Franklin Street between State and Wood Street is designated as part of a residential parking permit zone and limits non-permit holders to a maximum 2-hour parking between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. At their October meeting, the Public Safety Committee considered a request to alter that restriction to no parking for non-permit holders. This restriction would affect 3 parking spaces. As a result, the Public Safety Committee is recommending that council authorize the advertising of the attached ordinance. If council wishes to follow the committee's recommendation, it may do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Ms. Popkin. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Third item is authorization to advertise ordinance establishing 10-ton weight limit for trucks on North Clinton Street. Attached, please find the above referenced ordinance establishing a 10-ton maximum gross weight for motor vehicles on North Clinton Street. The Public Safety Committee is recommending the council authorize the advertisement of the ordinance. If council wishes to follow the committee's recommendation, it may do so by motion, and I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kinney, I think it was.
Yes.
Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And outside of the fire company report, which is attached, that's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Public Works and Administration, Mr. Kinney, what do you have for us tonight?
Mr. President, I have a memorandum from Dave Berger, the Director of Public Works, regarding October 25 surplus equipment sales. Doylestown Borough completed a sale of surplus equipment that ended on October 13, 2025, resulting in a total of $9,801. After final approval by council at its October 20th, 25 meeting, the equipment will be released for pickup. So I move that the council recommend the completion of the sales of the surplus equipment as noted by Mr. Berger in his report.
Second. We have a motion and a second by Mr. Lavrone. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none, any questions or comments from any members of the public? I'd like to add that the opportunity we have, the work that our Public Works Department does in maintaining their equipment allows us to take some old equipment that we no longer have a need for, and because it's kept in some good shape, we often have multiple people bidding on some of our stuff, and we've been very successful in doing that. So I want to just pass that along as a congratulations to our Public Works Department. I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I think I already did that. No.
Yes.
Okay.
That concludes my report. There's a Public Works report in the packet which does not require any.
Thank you, Mr. Kinney. Community and Government Affairs, Mr. Bell. Do you have anything for us
tonight?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have one report. We have no action for council. But first, you might have heard the mayor talk about an upcoming colonial pub crawl. I can't speak for anyone else, but this is my first chance to follow the guidance of the town criers to make all decisions with wisdom. I have one announcement, and that is that the Youth Recognition Award Program nominations are due November 1st. And it's human nature to put everything to the last minute. And great news, it's last minute. You know, any deserving youth, the eligibility requirements are on our Facebook page and on our website. So please help to recognize these very talented and very community-minded youth in the borough. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Bell. Ms. Jarrett isn't here tonight, but Ms. Popkin is stepping in for her for the zoning and planning report. What do you have for us tonight, Ms. Popkin?
Good evening, everyone. I have a lot for you. So the first item for zoning and planning is the American Legion Post 210, 315 North Street. And this is a zoning hearing board filing fee. Subject: the American Legion will be submitting an application for a zoning variance that would enable the replacement of an existing sign. The Legion submitted a request to the borough for a waiver of the zoning hearing board application fee. The Zoning and Planning Committee reviewed this request and recommends waiving the fee with the exception of the stenographer expenses reimbursable to the borough. If council is in agreement, it may waive the zoning board filing fee by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Wyckoff. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The second item is also a waiver filing fee for the Doylestown Historical Society at 56 South Main Street. The Doylestown Historical Society experienced a building fire earlier this year, and in planning for the reconstruction, it's incorporating a two-story addition, which will be submitted to the borough's review through the land development waiver procedure. The Historical Society has requested the Borough Council waive the land development waiver fee, and the Zoning and Planning Committee recommends the waiving of the fee with the exception of any reimbursable professional expenses. If council is in agreement, it may waive the land development waiver filing fee by motion, and I so move.
Second. We have a second by Mr. Lavrone. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Those town criers missed a chance to come back here and have something to talk
Celebrate.
about. They could have
Celebrating.
rang their bells, and
You could just give them a couple of huzzahs.
they're still out there.
The third item on zoning and planning is the application for land development 57 West Court Street redevelopment. So 57 West Court Street, site of the former Doylestown Borough Hall and Central Bucks Regional Police, is a T-shaped property with frontage on West Court Street, North Hamilton Street, and Harvey Avenue. The owner, ALOK Investments, demolished the building and is proposing to construct a hotel with an event space and a restaurant. The property owner sought zoning variances from the required number of parking stalls and building height, and to the extent applicable for the continuation of certain non-conforming dimensional conditions. The zoning hearing board granted the request for the building height variance, denied the request for the parking count variance, and determined that variances related to the non-conforming conditions were unnecessary. The owner submitted an application for subdivision and land development in May of 2025. In accordance with PA Municipalities Planning Code, the applicant may submit May's submission requires a decision from the Borough Council by its August meeting. The applicant voluntarily extended this deadline until October 31st, 2025, which is next week. The application and supporting documentation was distributed to the borough's engineers, applicable outside agencies, staff, the Shade Tree Commission, in accordance with the borough's typical review procedure. The feedback provided through this process was then gathered and considered by the Borough Planning Commission at its August and the September meetings. At its September meeting, the Planning Commission voted to table the application based on the following. 1, that the applicant should submit a valet parking management plan addressing queuing locations and parking hierarchy if parking demand exceeds the ordinance compliant parking capacity provided. 2, that the applicant should submit a directional signage plan to assist out-of-town guests navigate through the borough to the hotel. Number 3, the applicant should evaluate options for a covered walkway to enter the building from the parking lot and a covered area for guests waiting for their vehicles. The applicant has indicated a willingness to address these conditions as conditions of an approval, but is unwilling to grant an additional extension to the deadline that would allow for the return of the Planning Commission. In exercising this right, the applicant is entitled to consideration by Borough Council without recommendation by the Planning Commission. The Zoning and Planning Committee reviewed the application on its October 3rd meeting and recommends the approval of the application based on the following conditions. 1, that the applicant resolve the outstanding issues in the Borough Engineer's letter dated September 23rd, 25. Borough Water Engineer's letter dated September 22nd, 2025. The Water Department Director's letter dated May 19th, 2025. The Shade Tree Commission's reviewed dated June 17th, 2025. And the Bucks County Planning Commission's review dated June 9th, 2025, to the satisfaction of the staff. That an 8-foot fence be installed as part of the buffer adjacent to 8-4-269, 8-4-267-1, and if requested by Janet Clifford, 8-8-182. Number 3, that the applicant provide bumper blocks or the barrier where appropriate to protect the fence from vehicle overhang. Number 4, that the applicant work with borough staff to develop a directional signage plan to assist out-of-town guests navigating to the hotel. The signage shall be designed and laid out to direct motorists to and from the property, avoiding residential areas. Number 5, that the applicant provide a parking management plan addressing queuing locations and parking hierarchy if parking demands exceed the ordinance-compliant parking capacity provided. The plan should include, but not be limited to, location of the valet station, employee parking, thresholds for when the lot will be in valet-only mode, and in which, if any, portions of the parking lot may utilize the drive aisle for the valet parking. Number 6, that the applicant explore feasibility for a covered valet waiting area and covered walkway. Number 7, that the proposed curb bump out be designed as a stormwater management / water quality feature. Number 8, that the applicant provide a contribution to the Shade Tree Fund in the amount of $3,600. Number 9, that the applicant provide a water tapping fee in the amount of $201,630. Number 10, that the project comply with all applicable regulations, including local, state, and federal. I'm almost done. And in consideration of the foregoing, the committee recommends the following waivers be granted. Number 1, 22-400, to permit concurrent preliminary and final plan submissions. Number 2, 22-503 and 604, from dedicating additional right-of-way and widening the cartway along Court Street, Hamilton Street, and Harvey Avenue frontages. Number 3, 22-510.5, to permit parking stalls 18 feet long and 1 parking space within the garage to be a compact area at 16.3 feet. Number 4, 22-510.7, to allow the design of the parking stalls such that the vehicle may be moved to allow another vehicle to access a parking spot, and to require valet service as a condition of granting this waiver. Number 5, 22-510.8, to permit the curb in parking areas that have a radii smaller than 5 feet on internal parking islands. Number 6, 22-516.6, to permit grading and proposed improvements within the 5 feet of the property line. Number 7, 22-520.5, from providing 3 street trees along Court Street, 4 street trees along Harvey Avenue, and 3 street trees along Hamilton Street. Number 8, 22-520.8, to permit 1 row of parking to exceed 15 spaces without a parking island, therefore reducing the parking lot landscaping from the required 1,490 square feet to 1,320 square feet. Number 9, 22-520.12, to permit 2 replacement trees, whereas 4 are required. Number 10, 22-803.1.c and 805.1.c, from providing existing features within 400 feet of the site. Number 11, 21-405.7.b. Number 2, to permit a 26.5-foot wide driveway. Number 12, 21-405.7.c2 and 3, to allow a 15-foot radius at the driveway. So that is all of that. If council is in agreement with the committee, it may grant an approval to carry a motion to do so, and I so move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brown. Any questions or comments? Oh, first, before I do that, is there a representative of the applicant here?
Yes, good evening. Edward Wilder.
Would you like to say anything, or are you in agreement with those conditions?
We are, yes, and the owner is here, and or at least the representative of the owner is here,
Okay.
and agrees to those conditions.
Okay, thank you.
And in answer to your question, I'd like to hear if there are any comments or any discussion. We don't have a presentation to make, and I know that the Borough Council is well familiar with the property. It's been around for many years now, 3 years in the process. Been to the Planning Commission, been to the Zoning Hearing Board, been through various staff reviews, been to the HARB, and we appreciate that you would consider that tonight, recognizing the time periods that have been expended towards moving this project forward.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public?
Let me,
We're
we're going to go through just for the benefit of everyone here, we're going to go through, we have a number of people who have signed up to comment on this project. And if you have not signed up, if you came in late, or after the meeting started. I believe, is there still a sheet back there? If not, we'll put one back there, and you can sign up now, and we'll collect that after those who have already signed up have spoken. We do ask you to give your street address, not your street address, but your street, the municipality that you're from, and presumably you're talking about this agenda item, so you can note that as well. Just in general, we do limit public comment to 2 minutes. If there is follow-up questions from council or a dialogue ensues, obviously we'll extend that time. But in general, we do ask you to try to limit your comments to 2 minutes. And with that, I'm going to go down the list and call those who have signed up. First, we have Devin Refus. Devin, did you want to speak for this item? You checked off general public comment. So you'll speak at the end. Okay, we have Amy Wicker from Hamilton Street.
Do you want me to repeat my name? Amy Wicker, Hamilton Street. First question is, has the Borough Council read all the minutes from all the meetings on this project? Because there are a lot of valid concerns for residents regarding parking, traffic flow on our streets, residential hardship because of the hotel. So I was just first question, has everybody read all of the minutes related to this project?
I can tell you that all minutes from all those meetings are provided to council. They've all been provided to this council, and
Everybody read
I know
them?
that council members have attended many, if not all, the meetings.
Yeah, I don't need to repeat all my concerns then, because you're aware of all the concerns. And then with regard to valet parking plan, does this need to be provided before approval or before work begins on building of the hotel?
Before construction would begin,
Yeah,
it would need to be provided prior to that, yeah.
prior to that? Okay, but it wouldn't be at this meeting, or before you guys approve it?
I believe the condition reads, Karen, can you help me with the condition on the,
Let me get that too.
thank you. We'll find that. Number 5.
There is no timeline built into it. I would anticipate, though, that it's kind of, we work cooperatively with the applicant. I would expect that the site would probably be under construction while that's being developed. And we do want the applicant to have flexibility to make changes to a plan like that if the need arises.
Okay.
You know, if something's not working, we don't want anything to take longer than necessary to adjust for it. But we want to first look at it. But you know, it's not necessarily prior to building permit or occupancy. There isn't a set time frame for that.
Okay, thank you.
Karen.
Who's next?
Okay. Next, we have Geraldine Doherty from Harvey Avenue.
I just want to make sort of a general comment in terms that has come to me from following through on the process of this building and the permitting. We learned as residents a lot about how it all works, how it's structured. You know, Karen was just talking about there's no timeline in reference to the parking plan and how they're going to do it all together. And it's kind of surprising as a resident that this kind of things isn't locked down before you guys give approval. Then we learned that there's a certain period of time that you have to give approval or disapprove it, or it automatically goes to approval. And it was because the owner was willing to extend the period of time that you all had to review everything, that we actually got to October 31st. So that was an interesting thing to learn. My concern is that I feel like, as a resident of Doylestown, the building that's going on here, we're just building 2 big buildings in too small a place, and it looks like our zoning doesn't protect us. And that's what sort of came out of this whole process to me. I attended a bunch of meetings that you all had, in terms of getting priorities for the community. There were like a year and a half ago, there must have been 3 or 4 of them, where we all got together, we got into small groups, we talked about our priorities, what we would like to see for the community. Things that came out was we wanted to prioritize people over cars. We talked about density building. You know, there was lots of talk about plantings and creating a nature-oriented or a green feel to Doylestown, which I think we have. My point is, what happened to that? Is what's going to be used? What are you doing with that data? And it seems to me, or what I'd like to see, is a re-looking at, reprioritizing some of the zoning requirements that are in place that begin to reflect the priorities of the community residents, because I don't feel like that's happening. Once this building got the variance for four stories, I mean, it just became a huge building once again in a smaller space. I know my time's up, but you can't blame them. They want to make money, but what's happening is these huge buildings are overwhelming the spaces, just like the building across the commons here. It's humongous. It's overwhelming. So, thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Leslie Richards from Harvey Avenue.
Hello, I'm Leslie Richards. I'm a resident of Harvey Avenue. We, as Geraldine mentioned, came to numerous zoning hearing board meetings, and we brought up a lot of issues: garbage removal, traffic, parking, safety. And time again, we were told that those were not zoning board hearing issues, those were planning commission issues, and that the zoning board would rule on the height and the parking variances and things like that, but sort of the operational things would all get referred to the planning commission, and that would be our opportunity to have input. And what I'm hearing here tonight is there's a fait accompli between the owner and Borough Council, and that there is no more opportunity for community input as this process goes forward. I don't think it's an effective way to engage community, and it's disappointing. That's all I had to say. And I do not fault Mr. Thompson for needing to move ahead. I understand that. But the fact of the matter is, if we had something that was a scale that was appropriate to the neighborhood, none of this would have come up, and his process would have been much faster. Thank you.
Hey, we have Dave Morocco from Hamilton Street.
Good evening, Dave Morocco, Hamilton Street. I guess I have one question. In the borough, I guess the engineer's report, is that from Gilmore and Associates?
Yes.
There's mention of the lifts that are going to be used in the garage, and that the lifts that are specified in the plan will not actually function in the garage because there is not enough height for those to function. I'm wondering if that has been addressed and if that could potentially change the way this building would go in terms of the builder having to add additional height to provide clearance for that, or if those parking spots would just be scrapped since those lifts don't fit in the garage that's proposed. Other statement is, we've been told that traffic flow, if you only have one entrance and exit, that is better flow than separate entrance, separate exit. Still don't understand how that works, since it's a flow rather than stuff having to spin around in a confined space. There was one other item. Oh, traffic study. When I asked how the data was compiled, in terms of how cars would enter into the property, there was no real method. It was an arbitrary, well, that's what the way that we'll we think the cars would enter, that every car is going to enter in off of Court Street, because Court Street apparently is the easiest way in terms of Main Court Broad for cars to flow into that parking lot. There's no traffic on Court Street or Broad Street or Main Street. So we've been told. I think that's everything. My biggest question is about the lifts, how that is going to affect the number of parking spaces since they don't actually fit. Thank you.
Karen, Jim, do you want to take a
With the lifts,
comment?
the reason for the comment on the lifts is there's a note on the plan that says that the clearance in the garage is 10 feet. It was clarified before that the clearance in the garage would be 12 feet, which the lifts fit in the 12 feet. It's just a typo in the plan that needs to be corrected.
Thank you. Council? Okay, on to page 2. We have Darren Hoffman from Hamilton Street. Hey, Darren.
First, I'd like to say thank you to everybody involved. There's been a lot of work put into this project, and hopefully it's become a better project as a result. I do have just a couple comments with regards to where we're at in the process and what's in front of you here this evening. As Leslie mentioned, we all attended numerous meetings, myself included, and many times I was actually told that items I was bringing up was part of the zoning hearing board. I attended the zoning hearing board this week and proposed to speak on the matter, and was told I was restricted from speaking publicly on the matter on the record, which is a direct violation of municipalities' planning code and the Sunshine Act. This property was previously part of an agreement because of the appeal. That agreement was signed by Borough Council, and that agreement was signed by the zoning hearing board. Any member of the public can speak at the zoning hearing board on the record with regards to something that has been before the zoning hearing board or that may come back in front of the zoning hearing board. And I was restricted from doing that. The meeting was adjourned and the minutes were stopped. It's against the municipality's planning code and the Sunshine Law.
The zoning hearing board has its own legal counsel.
They suggested I talk to the borough. And when I talked at the zoning and planning committee meetings, staff suggested I talk to the zoning hearing board.
I don't have an answer for you on why the zoning hearing board did what they did. We
Well,
can certainly look into that.
I understand, but so the project that is proposed is not in accordance with the agreement that this borough council signed. It's larger in scope in terms of the amount of parking, and is a direct detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighbors in the borough.
Okay.
I ask you to take that into consideration. You don't have to approve preliminary final. You can approve preliminary with conditions and come back for final.
Okay, next we have Tim Edbrook from Harvey Avenue.
Tim Edbrook, Harvey Avenue. I've got a very brief statement I want to make. I'm reminded of the town criers who so eloquently opened this evening's meetings. Their words ring in my ears now and were repeated by at least one of you. Make all decisions with wisdom. I'm extremely disappointed this borough council is failing to live by those words.
Okay, that's all I had.
That's all you have, John? Any other comments from any members of council?
Yeah, I'd like to offer one general comment. First, thanks to everyone who showed up tonight, and particularly to those who shared your concerns with us. And I wanted to just offer one clarification, and this was triggered by Geraldine's remarks about the comprehensive plan. And thank you again if you joined the comp plan deliberations. The decisions that we make today are driven by the ordinances that we are working with today. So whatever's on the books as of today, that's what all the deliberations are centered around. The comp plan is not itself an ordinance. It has no legal standing. The comp plan, though, enables council to pass new ordinances that reflect some of the values that are inherent in that comp plan. And so there's a lag, and that offers no solace to those of you who are concerned about the matter at hand. But I just wanted to offer the clarification that your contributions to the comp plan are going to have a lasting effect because the ordinances that we and future councils pass are based on that comp plan. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Make a comment? I'd like to echo Councilman Bell's comments there, particularly with what was said by Ms. Doherty. And I'm looking forward to moving ahead with considering whether our zoning is in fact not working to the advantage of the borough moving forward. So I'm looking forward to working on that with the other members of council. And the other thing I wanted to say is that I've been to, I believe, every meeting that was held regarding this project. I may have missed one, but I'm going to say I was at most of them, if not all. And so I'm very familiar with it. And one of the, I don't necessarily agree with everything that, has been done by the zoning hearing board and so on and so forth, but we, as Mr. Bell said, we have these conditions that we have to live by, requirements of the MPC and so on. But my comment here is that I think that between the qualified staff that we have and the cooperation that we've seen from the applicant's attorney and these will comply things that are in front of the applicant that they've promised to do, I think this project going forward, being built and becoming operational is going to be done with as much consideration to the minimum amount of impacts on the residents as can be done. I'm very confident of that. So I live in the neighborhood. I'm the closest council person to this project. I've talked to a lot of you individually about the project and your concerns, and I appreciate you all giving input on this project because that's the way it's supposed to work. So those are my comments. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other comments from any members of council? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Call the roll.
Yeah, let's do a roll call vote.
Okay, thank you. Pull out the old sheet here.
Okay. Okay, yes vote is in favor of the application. Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Jarrett is absent. Mr. Kinney?
Yes.
Mr. Lavrone?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hanlon?
No.
Ms. Popkin?
Yes.
Ms. Wykoff?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
The motion carries by a vote of 7-1 with one absent.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next item, number 4, for zoning and planning is the zoning hearing board report. And 2 applications on the zoning hearing board report. The Doylestown Borough Zoning Hearing Board will held a public meeting.
Was held.
Was.
I apologize.
Was held. Yes, was held on 7 p.m. Thursday, October 16th at Borough Hall. The first one is 563 Maple Avenue, parcel number 8-10-11-19 in the R2 Residential Zoning District of the Borough by Jay Singh Sashdev, I don't know, Sashdev, who requests variances from sections 514 and 518 of the Doylestown Borough zoning ordinance to permit less than the side and rear yard setbacks required for a detached garage. The second is 44 North Franklin Street, parcel number 8-4-87 in the CR-residential zoning district of the borough by Michael and Linda Bannon, who request a variance from sections 502, 524, and 903-2 to exceed the permitted lot coverage. The applicants propose a two-story addition to the rear of the existing dwelling of the property.
And just as an update to that, both applications, both sets of variances were granted by the zoning hearing board on Thursday.
Yes. So I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a second.
No action.
No action is
Oh, no
No
action?
Yep.
Sorry.
These are already approved.
You will hear for the harm.
The next item is the HARB recommendations and certificates of appropriateness. We have one sign application, 54 East State Street, Rahim Kakar is the applicant. The HARB recommended that the application of certificate of appropriateness be accepted as presented, with the condition that the wires and electrical boxes be tidied up and painted to match the building on the exterior wall of the building, and the holes in the wall be patched and painted. There are 4 building applications. The first one, 114 East Ashland Street, is a roof application. LaSalle LLC, DBA William Penn Roofing applicant. The HARB recommended that the application for certificate of appropriateness be accepted as presented. The next item, 273 West Court Street, demolition and reconstruction, Richard Brown architect. The HARB recommended that the application for certificate of appropriateness be accepted as presented, with the condition that the applicant use box square gutters on the balconies. The applicant will use true exterior 6-inch Dutch lap siding, and the shutters will be proper dimension with correct hardware. The exterior color scheme will match the existing house. The third application, 20-22 East Oakland Avenue, is a renovation with Phillips and Donovan Architects. The HARB recommended that the application for a certificate of appropriateness be accepted as presented with the following conditions. The windows will be Anderson E-Series French casement style. The applicant will increase the number of the proposed windows to 8. The first and second floor body of the structure will be a cream color. The entry door and side light will be fiberglass with a flush glazing detail. The gutters will be white half round. The downspouts will be white. The fourth application, 272 East Court Street, is a demolition. Robert Etchell, property owner. The HARB recommended that the application for certificate of appropriateness be accepted as presented. So the Zoning and Planning Committee reviewed these applications and recommends approval in accordance with HARB's recommendation. If council is in agreement, it may approve in assurance of certificates of appropriateness by motion, and I so move.
We have a second by Mr. Lavrone. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. President. The other 2 items on the agenda, the Code Enforcement Monthly Report and the Building Inspection Monthly Report, are included in the packet for review. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Environment and Rec, Ms. Wyckoff, what do you have for us?
Thank you. Just two things, unless Amy would like to read them.
No.
Consideration of ordinance 2025-9, amending the subdivision and land development ordinance, adding tree species to the approved planting list and permitting cultivars and hybrids. In 2021 and 2023, Borough Council amended the subdivision and land development ordinance with an updated list of approved plantings based on species availability, increased temperatures, and durability of cultivars and hybrids. The Shade Tree Commission has recommended adding to the list of approved plants along with text changes to permit cultivars and hybrids. This ordinance has been properly advertised and reviewed by the Doylestown Borough Planning Commission, Bucks County Planning Commission, and the Environment and Recreation Committee. If Council is in agreement with the committee's recommendation to adopt Ordinance 2025-9, it may do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We had a second by Mr. Kinney, I think it was.
It was.
Any questions or comments from any members of council?
I just want to point out that we're adding 2 Buckeyes to the list 2 weeks before Penn State goes to Columbus.
God help us.
Are they taking their coach with them? Any other questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Secondly, regarding Fanny Chapman Pool, the main pool bottom concrete repair bid. Bids were opened and publicly read aloud at 2 p.m. on September 22nd, 2025 at the Borough offices for the concrete repair to the Fanny Chapman main pool bottom. One bid was received from USA Construction, LLC. After discussion and review with the engineer and solicitor, the Fanny Chapman Pool Board recommended that this singular bid be rejected and the project rebid in the summer of 2026. The Environment and Recreation Committee at their October 7th, 2025 meeting reviewed the Pool Board's recommendation and are also recommending the bid be rejected. If council is in agreement, it can be approved by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Mr. O'Hanlon. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Wyckoff. Water utility, Mr. Laverne, do you have anything?
Just to say that the Water Utility Committee did meet this month. We had interesting and in-depth discussions about operations and budget, but I have no actionable items. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Ms. Laverne.
Thank you.
Ms. Popkin, you're up again, finance.
Woman, some water.
This is my favorite part. So Finance and Pension Committee did meet this month. We had our first budget review for 2026 as a full council, and we will have more meetings on the budget.
Yes, we will.
And then in your packet is the finance report, and I'll send that over to Ms. Brinker.
Thank you, Ms. Popkin. All of council was provided with a list of payables and payroll for September. The total for all funds was $1,657,484.52.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kinney. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none, any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. I do have a personnel report tonight. It's regarding appointments to the Planning Commission. On September 23rd, 2025, the Personnel Committee met to interview candidates to fill 2 vacancies on the Planning Commission caused by the resignation of 2 committee members, Patricia West and Gus Perea. At the conclusion of those interviews and upon discussion, the Personnel Committee is recommending that Council appoint Kaylee Smalley and Steve Nelson to the Planning Commission to complete the current year-end terms, followed by a 4-year term commencing January of 2026 and expiring December of 2029. If council wishes to follow the recommendation, it may do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Lavrone. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none, any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Professionals report. Mr. Doherty, do you have anything for us tonight?
Thank you. I have nothing to report tonight.
Anything from our solicitor?
No report this evening.
Thank you. Chief, anything for us?
No report tonight, thank you.
Thank you. I do not have a president's report. Any items of old business? Any items of new business? Open public comment. I think we have a couple of, there was one.
Devin, did you want to speak? Devin Refus from Harvey Avenue?
Hi, Devin Refus from Harvey Avenue.
Refus, I'm sorry, Devin.
Yeah, firstly, I would like to put on the record as a resident of Upper Harvey that I'm definitely concerned about the safety. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and obviously bringing a lot of people to the area is definitely a concern for me. But that's not why I'm here. I came here a couple months ago. I actually went to the wrong meeting. I was at the zoning and board meeting. I'm in recovery from drugs and alcohol. I have eight and a half years sober myself. I work with people in drugs and alcohol. I run sober living houses, and I employ people that are sober at a bakery that I own as well. I'm very concerned about a new drug that is an epidemic within our streets, especially in communities like ours right here in Doylestown. It's called 7-OH. It's an alkaloid of kratom that's being created into pills. It's 8 times more potent than morphine, and it's being sold at the Smoke Shack right next to the school up here. It's being sold at the Exxon at the end of town. And it's really easy to acquire. You just walk in and you can buy it. You know, these places aren't even IDing people. It has not been banned federally, and because of that, I understand there is a lot of challenges as far as stopping these places. But there has been local cities, or I should say cities nationally, that have been able to stop it. From what I've read, the police have created ordinances with language that allows them to stop the sale of any opioid-like substance. I guess these ordinances were created around marijuana, and then as things got looser with that, they were able to find a way to use language within an ordinance that stops people from selling opioid-like substances. This is being advertised as an opiate. It is an opiate, and it's killing people. People are overdosing from it. It is not fentanyl. It is not heroin. It is literally a pill in a shiny box called Perks that I can buy right down the street from here. People are getting addictions that are, it's $45 for 4 pills. People are having $1,000 a week addictions. I'm helping get people into rehab. I'm helping people that have had years and years of sobriety get sober again as a result of that. I'm finding the boxes from this when I take my daughter to the Wood Street Park, when I take her to Burpee Park. It's right here in our community, and it's not a drug that's gonna take out the people in Kensington. It's going to take out the kids here in Doylestown that have $45 to walk into an Exxon Mobil down the street and buy a shiny box, with their fake Labubus or whatever else they're selling. These places are going to kill people, and they're right here. The Sparta right next to the Starbucks that just opened also sells kratom products. They've removed a bunch after I spoke with them, put them under the shelf, but they're still selling these same products. I don't know what we can do. I don't know if we have the same ability to enforce these ordinances. This is what I'm going to do because I feel that I have no choice. I'm watching my friends and people that I love suffer from this. 2 Mondays from now, I intend to place lots of people in recovery outside the Smoke Shack in a boycott of it, as well as the Exxon Mobil, because it's right at the beginning of our town and right at the end. And I'm going to stay there every single day with signs and announce that this drug is in our community, affecting our children, affecting our young youth, 18-year-olds. I mean, it's affecting 80-year-olds that I'm helping. And it needs to be addressed, and we at least need to put as many obstacles as we possibly can between these, legal drug dealers, because that's what they are, and our community who has no idea what they're going to experience if they take that substance. So I don't know what we can do. There wasn't a lot of answers last time. It's difficult, but I would love to find a way to work with our public servants to stop this from happening. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Can any age buy this? Is there an age restriction?
I mean, so these places say like it's 18 to come in, but I've been at the Exxon and literally watched kids that are like 15, 16. You know, they're lurking around waiting to buy it. That place is literally a horrible place. And same with the smoke shack next to McCafferty's. It says on the door you got to be 21 to enter. But I mean, if you just park a cop car outside of it for an hour and watch who goes in and out, you're going to see very quickly that anybody can get whatever they want, you know, legally. So whatever we can do to stop it would be great.
May I request, and I apologize for my ignorance about this. When you mentioned the nomenclature 7OH, something went off in my head, and all I can say is that I've heard about it, but I don't know anything about it. Would you be able to provide us with some resources, given your background and your knowledge, that those of us on council can review and consider, and we can look at what ordinances we do have and speak with our solicitor about what legally we can or cannot do, but I need more information, and I appreciate very much your activism and your concern about this. And I think if there is a way for us to act, we would certainly be interested in considering what actions we can take, but we need more information. So if you can provide information to us through John, Mr. Davis, who can distribute it to members of the council, I would be very interested in learning more about this and how it's marketed and all of those types of things to see if we do have any authority to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
It's Devin?
Yes.
Is that, I just wanted to let you know that I work for the Council of Southeast Pennsylvania and PROACT, and Karen told me about your meeting, and I went to some of our staff members, and it's 539 North Main. Is that what you're talking about, Exxon?
Yeah.
That one of our, and actually David Fialco, who lives in Maplewood, went in and he said the store is terrible. He was appalled. And he is actually, because they were selling specifically cigarettes to youth under 18 and not carding them, he at least has reported them to the FDA.
That's great.
And done the process because they are, have been FDA commissioners. So at least that's one step forward. So
Yeah.
they will be going and looking.
Thank you for that information. Yeah, that's great. It's a terrible place. It really
The
is.
FDA is closed until,
Right.
Who knows?
Devin, I know you said you came to the wrong committee meeting, which is sort of true. And at the time, we also advised that you could approach public safety.
Right.
And I know that going to committee meetings is not a fun hobby, but it is a good way to engage.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Except for public safety.
There are two pieces of legislation sitting in Harrisburg right now.
Right.
One in the House, one in the Senate, so.
Thank you.
If you call Steve Sanacero and let them know as well.
All right. Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Mr. President, I'd like to ask the solicitor if, Andrew, were you at the council meeting the last time the gentleman was here and talked about that?
I was at the zoning and planning committee.
Oh, zoning and planning, yeah, okay. Do you have anything to add to this?
You know, it's complicated because it is legal right now at the state and federal level, but if council's inclined, I mean, this is something my office could research and maybe provide a memo that lays out sort of the, pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses of trying to ban it. But it is, it's one of those topics that you're seeing a lot of news articles about. I know the New York Times did an article about it as well. So it's something I'm generally aware of, and then we could research and see if there's some options.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would add, I spoke with the county DA almost a year ago because residents in my ward were complaining about their kids, underage kids being sold vaping materials and supplies there at that same Exxon. And the DA told me that there was some sort of task force that was looking into that. And I don't know, maybe the chief has any updates on that. I haven't checked with her, but I will again.
So yes, we're quite aware of the Exxon station on North Main Street and some of the other shops around town. Particularly the Exxon station, we have worked with Southeast Council, and several times a year we actually send in kids under the guidance of adults to buy cigarettes, specifically cigarettes, because we know how flagrant they are. Many, many times, we will cite not only the child purchasing the cigarettes, but then on top of that, cite the owners multiple times. And until we can get some better legislation or ordinance-wise, it's very difficult for us to do anything more than that. We have kicked this up to Montgomery County District Attorney's Office, to their drug strike task force. I will tell you quite honestly, that is a fairly low priority for them right now with some of the other things they're working on. I didn't really like that answer, so I will tell you that we are working on some other investigative techniques and tools currently through our detective sergeant, who is trying to lever more administrative sanctions against these places versus just us basically writing them a ticket, having them pay it, and then there's no repercussions after that, after multiple violations. So we're aware of it. We're trying the best we can. But like Mr. Kenny said, if you could just provide some more information from your perspective, and it'll come down to my office. There's absolutely a great chance to work together on this. Thank you. Okay? Thank you for coming in tonight.
Any other questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none?
That's all we have for
That's all we have
general
for
public comment.
Right. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
No executive session tonight. We have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brown. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all tonight for this meeting.
I put a spell on you. I put a spell on you. It's your mind.
Witches. Hello, witches. Do the most crazy thing you've probably done all year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yay! Yeah. What we're going to do right now is ride very slowly, very carefully on the pavement, on the sidewalk, around this big oval. And we're going to ride carefully across the street into the parking lot. We're all going to get together in there. We're going down to Clinton, over to Oakland, around Mount Carmel, back down State, cutting over at Hamilton to Harvey and back here. The streets are open with traffic. You have to follow the rules of the road.